If you notice here in Illustrator, this photo of the Enterprise that I used as my template, Tom, you had asked about a template, I did draw it from something, is missing because I linked it, right? I linked it in the file on my computer, and then not paying attention because it was a brand new version of Illustrator. I have both versions running now because, for this class basically and for other legacy files. But I'd forgotten that my default was set to link files, not to embed them. And so because I've been working with my CS6 setup for a couple of years, and I have it automatically set to embed because that link option when I'm importing a file is always turned off. So I forgot it in this instance. I wasn't minding my own, I wasn't practicing what I preached to you guys, but I missed that. And so now, shoot, the file is missing, and I brought it here. And how do I relink it? Well, I don't have to go through the process of re-importing that file, okay? Within Illustrator, there's a panel called the Links panel. And as with all panels, you can access it from the Window drop-down menu. So I went to Window and selected Links, and when I selected Links, the Links panel showed up. And indeed, it showed me that this one is missing. It has a red X or a white X on a red circle, technically. Okay? And so this one is missing. Well, notice in this panel, there are a few different buttons. There's the Go To Link button, which basically, it's kind of cool. Let me show you what that does. I'm going to use my hand tool to move away from my Enterprise, and if I click on that Go To Link button, Illustrator jumps me right over to that link to show me that this is the one I have selected. The reason that's handy is, in some cases, and already with some of your design projects, I'm sure you're using a lot of images that you're bringing into your designs, right? So if you have a lot of links, some of them with the same file names because you've repeated them in a few places, if you have a lot of links and some of them are missing and you don't know where they're at in your Illustrator document, this is a really handy way to find them. You select the name of the link in the panel and then click on the Go To Link button, and it'll take you right over to where that link is located, and it'll even select it and outline it for you.
What if it's not on your computer?
This is just to show you where it's positioned on your artwork. We haven't gotten to where if it's not on your computer. But to answer that question, if you don't have, if you packed up your file and took a trip to Kansas and you left that original file back home, you can't get it back. I happen to bring a copy with me, so I'll be able to relink it. But what I'm saying is, what I'm going to show you is, if you do have the missing file with you, you can relink back to it.
Without having to replace it.
Without having to replace it and yeah, exactly. And bring it back in and import it all over again. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the relink button. If you notice down here in the panel, there's a relink button. I'll click on that and it opens up my computer in a window, so I can go find that image and place it. I'm going to go to my desktop, go to my folder, and jump into here, and there it is. Enterprise JPEG is the one that was missing. This time, link is unchecked because I'm on a different computer, and it shows me the visual. That's the one. So I'll click on place, and now it's brought it right back into the position that it was originally set at. I didn't have to size it back again, none of that. It just came in and it was positioned just the way I wanted. So yeah, to answer your question, Tom, I did use this as a template to draw with, and that's what we're going to do today. I want you guys to follow along with redrawing the USS Starship Enterprise. So what I'd like you guys to do is open up a new document.
Can I ask you something about these?
Sure.
How do you get it so they don't break?
So they don't break?
Or, I mean, Okay, I had it on my computer, I
Uh-huh.
put it on a flash drive, I brought it over to this one, none of the pictures, none of the links were there.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way I could have done it, the artwork on my
Absolutely.
computer and
Yeah.
not had them linked so I didn't lose the links?
Yes, absolutely. When you first brought those links in and you went to, let me click on this document. And you went to place, right? That's what you did, file, place.
Right.
You find your image, whichever one it might be. I'll select the falcon in this case. You have to ensure that this checkbox down here that reads link, you want to make sure that is unchecked. Because if this is checked, Illustrator is going to create a link between the Illustrator document and your image. It's not actually going to place your image in there, it's just going to be a reference link. By unchecking it, you're doing what's called embedding the image. It's actually going to embed the image into your document. So I'll click on place,
Oh,
and now this new image that I've brought in is embedded.
yeah, I think mine was automatically checked and I didn't notice that.
Okay, yeah, I did the same thing. So, back to this new document that I want you guys to create. So go ahead and create a new document. Let's title this one Enterprise. And then dash, first name, last initial. Okay, number of artboards, we'll just stick with 1 for now. Okay, because we're just going to draw the Enterprise. This time we're going to change the size from letter to tabloid. Can anyone, oh, I just gave it away, never mind. Tabloid is another name for 11 by 17 paper, which you won't be able to print full size on our printer, right? Our printer only prints 8.5 by 11 letter size paper. Actually, it might have the capability for ledger. No, it doesn't. But I'm going to print it. I'm going to make this big so that it can be a poster if I wanted to. It could be a nice big 11 by 17 poster, and that's kind of a standard size. Change your units to inches, and then down at the bottom, if you roll out or open up the advanced portion of this panel, it should be set to CMYK. A resolution of 300 dpi is good for that. Once you have that those parameters set, go ahead and click OK.
Now CMYK is for printed, right?
That's right. Who can tell me what the acronym stands for? Anyone remember the colors? Yellow and black. Yep, cyan, magenta, yellow and black. That's exactly right.
And the other ones are used for web?
RGB is used for web and basically anything on screen.
Or on screen?
So it could be
Newsletters,
mobile devices.
whatever,
Mobile devices. Well, newsletters is different. I guess if you're doing email newsletters, yes. But if you're doing a PDF newsletter, you have to be careful because a lot of times people do want to print those, right? They're not just for viewing on screen.
And so which one would you do?
I would do CMYK
Okay.
for that. Absolutely.
And it's
And it'll still render on the
still
screen.
look okay
Yeah,
on the
it'll still
screen.
look okay. Exactly. Yeah. So everyone have a document open, 11 by 17? Okay. All right. The next thing I want you to do is to place the image. And if you go to the you know what you should do first? Go ahead and hit cancel. If you did hit place, go ahead and click on the cancel button. And then minimize your Illustrator window by clicking on the yellow button up here in the window. And then find the AD share drive, go into the images folder, and inside of images you'll see the 1031. Take that 1031 folder and drag it to your local labs folder on your computer, so you have it there. And by the way, that same labs folder is where you're going to be saving your your enterprise working file in Illustrator. Everyone got that?
No, where was it in images?
Mm-hmm.
And then where?
Today's date.
Okay. And are we getting the enterprise?
You, grab the whole folder, 1031, today's date,
Oh,
the whole thing.
and put it in labs?
That's right. Okay. So once you're done with that, go ahead and move back over to your Illustrator document. And we're going to place our image here. Actually, before I just place it, I'm going to name my file. And I'm going to name this sketch. And that's fine. I'm sorry, not my file, my layer. Hopefully you guys saw what I was doing on screen and not listening to me. Name your layer sketch so you know where you're putting your sketch of the enterprise. Now, if we go to place that image, it's under the File menu. You click on File and then scroll down to Place and select Place. And now that you have that folder on your computer, you can go to your labs go to your labs folder, select the Enterprise JPEG, and once you do, ensure that you do not have the link button checked. We want to embed this photo, so be sure you don't have it checked. Click on Place, and it's going to come in sideways, right? How do I rotate this?
Transform?
Transform, that's one way.
Just drag it.
You could drag it using the bounding box also. I'm going to do the bounding box technique, but to do that, I can visualize that my enterprise photo is bigger than my artboard. So if I don't zoom out, I'm going to start trying to drag this and rotate it, and it's going to move off of my screen, and that's okay, right? But now I'm not centered anymore, and that's okay. I can center it back up again after the fact. All right, so I've rotated it, but wait a minute, it looks crooked. You can tell I didn't do it right. So what's the proper technique to rotate this image so that I can ensure that it's completely vertical when I'm done? Anyone want to tell me?
Hold shift.
Hold shift, exactly. So now I'm going to hover back over that corner and click, and then holding the shift key down, now I'm going to rotate that image, and notice that it hops in 45-degree angles. And when it's up to the top, I'm going to let go. And now my image is right in the middle of my artboard. It's still bigger than my artboard, so I need to shrink it down. And for this, I want it to be a little precise.
Did you hold down the shift before you start?
I clicked and then held down the shift.
Clicked on the...
And so what we want to do now is scale this down. And I want to be precise about my scaling, especially because I want all of you guys to have the same exact size, right? So if you've already scaled it, you jumped ahead too fast and you're going to end up with slightly different artwork. So we're still at this step where we've only rotated our artwork. And now I'm going to double click on the scale tool, double click on it, and it brings up the scale dialog box, the options for scaling this. I'm going to type in 75%, and I suggest that you do the same thing so that we're all on the same, working with exactly the same size. Here, let's go ahead and do this. Let go of everything. All right, we're back here. Now, hover over the corner until you see the arrows. You have the rotating arrows. Not the scaling. There you go. Now, click and hold the shift key. Did you click? Keep going. You can't be shy about it. Keep going. 45 degrees is what we're doing. Keep going. Keep going. There you go. There's one. Keep going. There you go. Okay, now scale that down 75% so that it fits on the artboard.
Where's that menu, the scale?
The scale, double clicking on, you have to select your image first. You double click on the scale tool and it brings up the scale dialog box. And then type in 75%. Okay. And then we all should have exactly the same thing as far as the size, the proportion, and everything else. Now I've gone ahead and locked my layer because I'm not going to be drawing on this layer. I'm going to create a new one. And of course, to create a new one, I'm simply going to click on the Create New Layer button here within my Layers panel. And I'm going to name this one Drawing. So that way I know what my what I'm drawing here. And now I'm ready to start working on this. There's one more adjustment I want to make though, and I haven't shown you guys this yet, but I want to show you guys this option in Illustrator's preferences. This will come in handy. Okay. I want everyone to go ahead and go to Illustrator, the Illustrator drop-down menu, and you'll see an option here called Preferences. Go ahead and slide over and select General from the Preferences so that the General dialog box opens up. Okay? And you notice here by default, Illustrator has the Scale, Strokes, and Effects option checked. You see how it's checked? If yours is unchecked, you might have unchecked it previously, or someone might have unchecked it previously. But it should be unchecked. And the reason for that is, I know from doing this type of work that I'm going to be taking objects, copying and duplicating them, and making them smaller and making them bigger. And I don't want the thickness or the thickness of the stroke on those objects to change when I'm scaling them. Does that make sense? I want them all to end up being the same thickness. So when I'm done with it, all of my strokes are going to be 1 point thick. Nothing is going to be 0.33 points thick and the other's 0.125, and all this different stuff. They're all going to be 1 point because I'm deselecting the Scale, Strokes, and Effects option. So I'm going to do that now.
So should that usually be unchecked?
My personal answer is no. Because most of the time, with projects that I work on, most of the time, I do want those things to scale in proportion, right? It depends on the type of project that you're working on. But most of the time, I want stuff to scale in proportion. For this particular project, I don't. And that's why the option is here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And now I at least have set up my document correctly, so that I can start drawing and I know all of my shapes and everything is going to be are going to remain the same. So the next thing I want to do is make sure that I'm going to start drawing with lines that I can see. Okay? So before even selecting my drawing tool, the one that I want to use, and I think I'm going to start with the circle here. At least that's what I started with when I worked on the Enterprise today. The first thing I want to do here is to get my color set up correctly. And you can see here, can you guys see what I have set in my color panel right now? See that? It's set to fill white and stroke none. I definitely don't want to be working in that mode, right? Start drawing white circles everywhere? No, we don't want to do that. So I'm going to set my colors now, so when I start drawing, I'm good to go. So I'm going to switch over to the fill and turn my fill into none. I can hit the / key to do that once I'm on that option. I'm going to toggle back over to my stroke by hitting the X key, and that brings up my stroke option. And I'm going to use a color out of my swatches panel, and I'm going to do a really light blue. This cyan blue is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to change my stroke to cyan, so it's bright, I can see it. It does not conflict with my layer color. My layer color is red, so it's going to contrast my layer color, so I'll be able to easily see what's selected and what's not. And now I'm ready to start drawing a circle. is what I'm going to start with. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the ellipse tool, and you remember how to get to the ellipse tool, right? You click and hold the mouse on the shape tool, and then you can select ellipse from the drop down. And now you can see the icon changed into an ellipse, and it's ready to start drawing. Now I'm going to try to be as close to center as possible on this. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Anyone remember the keyboard shortcut for zooming in? Command plus or Command equals is basically what it is, but yeah, because the equals and plus key are the same. So I'm going to do that now, Command equals. I'm going to zoom in 3-4 times so that I can see. That might be a little too much. Now I'm going to use the hand tool to move my artboard a little bit, and I can hold the shift key down to bring up my hand tool. And I just want to get that circle right in my artboard so I can start drawing on it. All right. I think I'm ready. I've got an ellipse tool set, I've got a bright colored stroke applied, and I'm ready to start drawing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start from the center, and keep in mind, it's really important you guys hear that. I'm going to start from the center, as close to the center of this circle as I can. Okay? Keep in mind that my entire drawing is going to be centered. All of the elements are going to be centered on this spot, wherever I start. It's a very important spot. Even when I drew the engines on the outside, all I did was drew one, and then I reflected it over to the other side, and I used this center point to make sure I reflected it, and it was perfectly equidistant on both sides. So it's perfectly symmetrical. So that point's important. So in order to start drawing a circle from there, you have to hold the Option key down so that it draws from the center out. So I'm holding the Option key. I haven't clicked yet. My hand's still waving because I talk with my hands a lot. But you can see I'm pretty darn close to center, and holding the Option key now, I'm going to also hold the Shift key down. Now why am I holding the Shift key down? Anyone tell me?
So it'll be a circle instead of a...
Exactly. So it remains a perfect circle. Now I can click and start dragging outward, and I'm going to drag it to my outermost circle. It takes a little bit, right there. I like it, and I let go, and I've got my first circle. Great. And I clicked away from it so I can see it, and indeed it's got a blue stroke. It's going to be perfect. All right. So now I'm ready to do another circle. You guys all in the same spot here? Pretty fun, drawing circles. This is where we're going to introduce something kind of tricky. I want you guys to remember these keyboard shortcuts that we're going to be using in the lesson for a lot of this stuff. Command F, what does that do? Anyone? It pastes in front. You got these down, Cynthia. You're always rattling off. Well, all right, if Command F is paste in front, what is Command B? Back. Paste in back. Carla's trying to get in there. Exactly. Those are really important today because we're going to be repeating a lot of stuff. So I'm going to be doing Command C to copy, Command F to paste in front, right? What's Command C do? Copies. So keyboard shortcuts are Command C and Command F. All right, so I have my outer circle. I'm going to do a Command C and a Command F. And what did that just do? It copied it and pasted it right on top of itself. You won't be able to see it because it's right on top of the previous one. But if I grab a corner and hold the Shift key down with the Option key, Option and Shift, I'm sorry, not Option, yes, Option. You notice what the Option key did there? The Option key preserved the center, the Shift key constrained the shape to be a perfect circle. All right. So, now I've got two lines.
How'd you get it smaller?
I clicked on the corner and holding
Oh,
the Option and Shift key,
oh, I did that. Oh.
I just scaled it down, and it preserved the center line. Okay, so now this is where we have some technical things to take care of, right? You guys notice that these circles here are all evenly. Maybe they're not. Yeah, they are. They're evenly spaced, right?
Yeah.
These are all even. That's an engineering thing. They have to be perfectly spaced for this to be correct. I could continue my copy and paste in front and then scale this one down, copy, paste in front, scale that one down, and try to align it to the sketch. But that might not be super accurate, right? I could end up with some that are slightly closer, some that are slightly farther. You know, the gaps are not going to be perfectly spaced. So what I want to do is I want to copy, paste in front and create this circle here now, and then use our blending tool to blend the rest of the circles in between there. That way I know that they're exactly the same distance. So I still have my inner circle selected. I'm going to copy, paste in front, Command-C, Command-F, and I'm going to, while holding the Shift and Option key down, I'm going to scale this circle down, the copy that I made, to the innermost circle on the top of the ship's bridge there, or whatever that is. And so now I'm going to turn this off real quick, my sketch, so you can see this is all I have. It looks like a donut with an outer ring, right? This is all I have. I want to create the rest of those lines using my blend tool. You guys remember the blend tool? We haven't done that in a few weeks. You guys remember how the blend tool works, kind of, sort of? Well, we'll practice with it again. In order for the blend tool to work, it has to blend between two things, right? You can't just blend on itself. So what I'm going to do is select this circle here, which is my outer ring, I guess is what I'll call it. And then I'll hold the Shift key down and select my innermost ring. And that way I know both of these are selected. And I can see my red line here, and I can see my red line here, indicating that indeed I have both of those circles selected. Now I'm going to switch over to my blend tool, which in Adobe Illustrator, gosh, I don't know why I'm a little foggy-headed here. There we are. The blend tool. I have a single wide tools panel, so it's near the lower, third of the panel. And you'll see here's the blend tool. I'll click on that now. Notice my two objects are still selected. And I'll click on the anchor point of my outer ring one time. No shift, no keyboard involved, just a single click on it. And then I'll click on the bottom, or the same anchor point, but on the smaller circle. And when I do that, you notice there's one ring that's been created between those two, right? Well, I want to adjust that. And the reason that by default, Illustrator uses smooth color on a blend. And because it was a line, it's considering a single line in the middle to be a smooth color. But that's not really what I want. So I'm going to double click my blend tool again to bring up the blend tool options. And this time I'm going to change my spacing from smooth color over to specific distance. And of course I'm going to click on the preview button. And when I click on the preview, whoa, I've got way too many circles because the default distance is 0.06 inches, and that's not right. I think it's 0.35, but I'm not sure. I'm going to try that. I typed in 0.35 inches. No, that wasn't quite right. Let's try 0.5. That's not it either. I'm going to give it one more shot. 0.65. How's that sound? And that's too much. I like to keep the numbers even. I'm going to try 0.6. I guess that's 0.6.
0.525.
I'll go for 0.5. I went 0.55. I think it was different on mine. Oh yeah, my drawing was slightly different size, that's why. That's why I think I had 0.35 on mine, because I was working at a smaller scale. But so 0.55 is what I ended up using, and I'm pretty happy with it. That one's on, that one's a little off, you know, but I do know one thing, they are all exactly the same distance from each other. And that's really what I wanted. More importantly than aligning to the lines on my sketch, I wanted them to be the exact same distance. And so, great. Now we've got this blend between two objects. I want to expand this blend because I don't want it to interfere with me being able to continue my drawing, right? And what I mean by expand the blend is I don't want these to be let me show you what I mean. If I go into artwork mode, look at that. My circles disappeared.
Oh.
I went into artwork mode and my circles aren't showing up. Well, why is that? Well, the blend tool is kind of an illustrator effect, right? So those circles really aren't there for me to grab and manipulate, adjust anchor points on. I can't do that with them because the blend tool uses an effect to create those circles. So I want to expand that blend so that my circles end up turning into circles, because that's really all I want. I don't care if they're blended. I can get rid of the blend. I'd rather have them be circles. And in order to do that, you can go up to Object. If you click on the Object from the drop-down menu, and then go down to Blend, you'll see an option that says Expand. If I click on Expand, now look at this. There's an anchor point there, an anchor point there, an anchor point there. I see that Illustrator has expanded my blend. Now when I go into artwork mode, I indeed have all of my circles, and each one of those is manipulable. Ross.
I think it's
What? Try 0.55, not 1.55, just 0.55. Let's do it. Yeah, it was 0.55, not 1.55. If anyone else was doing that same thing. Okay, so now I'm starting to get somewhere. Very cool. I'm super stoked about that. The next thing I want to show you in this drawing is how to create these lines that are radiating. Right, you see these? That's pretty tricky stuff right there.
Isn't that how we did the map?
The water.
You remember
The
it?
sun.
Yeah, you remember that. That's the sun rays in the sky.
Right.
Exactly the same procedure. But we do have to be, I don't know, did we use exact numbers to create those
We did
steps?
45 degrees.
45 degrees, something like that. Well, here I know for a fact that to divide a 90-degree angle up equally with this many lines is 22.5 degrees is what we have to do. So, I'm glad you guys remember that because that's exactly what needs to happen next to create those lines. I'm going to switch over to my pen tool, excuse me, and I'm going to, for the moment, I'm going to turn off my sketch, okay? Oh, well, I'm going to ungroup all of these circles. By the way, when you expand a blended set of objects, they're all grouped together. So I'm going to ungroup those. And the keyboard shortcut for ungroup is Command-Shift-G. I'm going to click away from there, select back on any one of them, and indeed now they are ungrouped. And I'm in big trouble here because I don't see my smart guides. Guides. Yes.
I need them.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister needs them.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just we got another 40 minutes. We'll finish up and we'll continue on Tuesday with this project. Sure. Okay, sorry about that. I am a little bit worried here because I have a brain block going on. Let me try and figure this